President John Dramani Mahama has given an order for intelligence agencies to be realigned under the Interior Ministry, a move that has not settled well with some parliamentarians. A communication from the President to Parliament said Prosper Bani, the ministry will, with immediate effect, take up oversight responsibility for intelligence agencies in the country. Presidential directive issued Thursday was addressed to the Speaker of Parliament, Edward Doajao. This could also mean that the National Security Agency, for example, the Economic and Organized Crimes Office, YOCO, and the Financial Intelligence Center will now report to the Ministry of the Interior. Until the directive, YOCO was under the Attorney General's Department, and the FIC, that's the Financial Intelligence Center, under the Ministry of Finance. Member of Parliament for Sunyani East, Kwesiame Treme, has warned the directive could compromise the independence of these very agencies. Well, let's move on to a subject been brewing for the last 48 hours. The head of political science at the University of Ghana, Dr. Bosman Asare, is worried the controversy of the president's gift will have a negative effect on the fight against corruption. Dr. Bosman Asare described the acceptance of the gift as inappropriate under the circumstances, adding that others would cite that as an example when confronted with similar situations now and in the future. He spoke with Joy News' Favor Nunu.
I think I was completely taken aback when I heard that someone has successfully been able to give a gift to the president, because I know when someone occupies the position of the president, this is the highest office in this particular country. So Ghanaians expect a certain level of a high level of morality, a certain level of administrative commitment, a certain level of professionalism. So I have always been of the view that it's very, very inappropriate for someone who is sitting president of our country to receive a gift of that particular level. We know that when presidents are moving around and they get to place, they are given smokes, they are given this kente cloths, etc. But to the extent that someone has been given the contract by the government of Ghana, and the person gave a gift to the president, personally to the president, I think it's completely inappropriate.
On the basis of the Constitution, is it possible for any organization, any individual, any Ghanaian to say, we want to go forward and impeach the president? And how does that happen?
I think on the basis of the Constitution provides grounds that there are certain things when leaders do, they can be removed from office. That one is clearly established. But one of the things we have to understand in Ghana is that the nature of the system we are practicing, the political system we have in this country, some people can take the initiative. The court is always there to listen to people, whether you are rich, you are poor, you belong to a party, or you don't belong to a party. But the question is, will this thing be able to fly? And when we talk about impeachment, impeachment generally falls within the domain of the legislature. Unless someone is saying that, okay, I think the parliament will not be able to do it, so let me go through the court system. But impeachment is something which will be done by parliament. But let's look at the composition of our parliament. And looking at the system we are practicing, I don't think Ghana will get to a point where a president who has majority in parliament and the parliamentarians will say we are going to support an agenda or an action that will lead to the impeachment. And I think we've been hearing some MPs on the president's side who are justifying that, oh, at times the president will go around and people will be giving smokes, goats, sheep, etc. But let's be very clear, Ford expedition is different from a goat. This is a country we are having problems with corruption. We are always saying public officials are corrupt, ministers of state, parliamentarians, civil servants. Almost all of us accept that corruption has become synonymous with the Ghanaian people. But people also expect that there are certain individuals, if even we are talking about corruption, we shouldn't be mentioning their names. And one of the persons will be, let's say, the Chief Justice, the Speaker of Parliament, the President, the Vice Chancellors, Judges of the Supreme Court, etc. So once people are hearing that even someone was given a contract by the government of Ghana, and that same person gave a gift to the president, and the gift is worth something more than $100,000, then you hear ordinary people saying that, oh, if even the president can do that, then we don't have to blame any individual.
After several attempts to secure himself a good job in his homeland Nigeria, Fure Rama has decided to adopt a strategy in search of a job here in Ghana. And a graduate of religious studies from Imo State University in Owerri, Nigeria, moves from one place to another carrying a cardboard with a CV scripted on it. Today, he took his job search to the forecourt of multimedia group, attracting Joy News Jifa Kege's attention. Well, we caught up with Fure, who told us why he chose this very strategy and whether or not so far it's yielding some results.
A first glance through the windows of a newsroom of a well-dressed gentleman holding up a cardboard looked like an everyday occurrence. The more I try to read the message from afar, the more I get curious of his intention. So I decided to get close. Fure Romara is an unemployed graduate. His search for greener pastures has brought him all the way from Nigeria to Ghana. The man in his late 20s has decided to go the unconventional way, hoping to secure a job with the display of a cardboard bearing his CV, after several attempts to secure a job with several companies have failed both in Nigeria and Ghana.
By Providence, I'm a graduate of religious studies in Delta State. I graduated from Imo State University, Owerri, with 4.2 CGPA. That is second class honor upper division. After my graduation, I served in Nigeria as a youth corps member. During my service, I was awarded the best corps in Bayelsa State. Being in Nigeria, walking around everywhere looking for a job as a graduate with good grades, no job, I have to come to Ghana. Here in Ghana I came, I've been searching for a job all this while also. I have not seen any. I've submitted letters to more than 20 institutions, both the government and the private. No single response. So I can't keep being at home, be jobless. It's very unbearable. I'm tired of being jobless. I can no longer take it. I have to come to the street before it will be too late.
Fure's main aim of adopting this strategy is to make UN, AU, ECOWAS and other world bodies aware of the increasing number of unemployed graduates in Africa, even as he searches for a good job.
I'm appealing to the United Nations. I'm appealing to the European Union. I'm appealing to AU and the ECOWAS to please come to our intervention in Nigeria. Precisely, I need a job. They should come to our intervention. Enough is enough. We that are graduates that have passed through the university system, we are searching for job everywhere, no job. That's why I'm crying to the public society to please come to my rescue. Let you and all of them come and rescue us. I need a job.
Aside his search for job, Fure wants the Nigerian government to be proactive and create jobs so the youth will not take up arms.
I realize that the government of Nigeria recognize the armed youths who take arms to challenge the government, youth who use violence to press for their demand. That is the people that the government listens to. The government don't give attention to the peaceful youth, the youth who are graduates, the youth who are peace-loving. They have no interest. They don't even show attention whether they are existing. If you are a militant in Niger Delta, the government come to you and pay you salary at the end of the month while you are doing no work. Meanwhile, those who have jobs, they are taking off slashing their salaries. So it's a very big pity.
We have to turn our attention to mainstream politics, and suspended General Secretary of the NPP, Kwabena Agyapong, has withdrawn as a witness for former chairman of the party, Paul Afoko, who is challenging his suspension in court as national chairman of the party. Mr. Agyapong was due to testify in court on Thursday when Mr. Afoko's lawyer, Safo Boabing, announced that he would no longer be available as a witness. Joy News Raymond Akwa was in court and has filed this report.
Paul Afoko's lawyer Thursday morning told the court hearing the case that Mr. Agyapong, who had been listed as a third witness, was not available and therefore should be withdrawn as a witness. Safo Boabing consequently asked the court to strike out the witness statement submitted by the suspended General Secretary. Paul Afoko is suing the opposition New Patriotic Party over the decision of the National Executive Committee to endorse a recommendation to suspend him. The disciplinary committee of the NPP recommended Mr. Afoko's suspension after he consistently failed to appear before it to answer charges of misconduct. He appealed the suspension at the National Council, but his appeal was dismissed by an overwhelming majority of the members present. He subsequently went to the High Court, insisting that his suspension was in contravention of the NPP's constitution. He wants the decision declared unconstitutional and of no effect. Mr. Afoko and one of his lawyers, Martin Pebu, have concluded their testimonies. Kwabena Japan, who suffered a similar fate as Mr. Afoko, was expected to testify Thursday when the case was called, but lawyers for the plaintiff announced that will no longer be the case. With the testimonies concluded, the court is expected to fix a date to give its judgment on the matter if the NPP does not call any more witnesses. A similar case brought against the NPP by Vice Chairman Sami Krab was dismissed as unmeritorious by the Human Rights Court in Accra recently.
Children of Ningo Pram in the Greater Accra region are denied access to education as they are sold out as slaves. And 25 years after the world started a campaign to highlight the struggles of children on the African continent. Well, here's a piece from Ningo Pram to commemorate the International Day of the African Child.
The children of Ningo Pram are sold out as child slaves by their parents to work as fishing hands and labor aids to traffickers along the Volta Lake. Jifat Diko, the technical advisor on gender, children and social protection, admitted that these challenges will not go away, citing the only way out is education.
I think country by country, that's why we have our lead organization, the African Union, and then we have all other regional bodies they've demonstrated, member states have demonstrated a commitment to the children. They have protocols that guide the work we do with children. We would admit that these are things that will not go away with as we wish it, but we have to work extensively and thoroughly to make sure that children are protected. It's a strong commitment. So it's not easy. I mean, it's not easy. It's very daunting, but with consistency, with availability of resources, we will be able to do it. We think the standards of our children, especially with a lot of social protection measures, including the school feeding and health insurance and all of that, are improving.
She advised and suggested the strengthening of legal environment to ensure every child rescued from slavery, re-echoing the importance of the media in the fight against child trafficking.
We have to make it a consolidated effort. The media, oh God, they're watching all of us and they're saying that you can't sleep, you can't pretend. So we think if media keep children issue as well burning in this country, we think nobody will get off the hook and we work to the collective interest of our children.
The Chief Director of the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection, Mauto Ablo, stated that poverty is the major cause of modern-day slavery. He, however, noted that grants have been offered to some rescued families, hoping that the intervention will soon be scaled up. For the many children unfortunate to be in this situation, they can only hope for a brighter tomorrow as authorities work towards realizing this goal.
As and when we hear some of these cases, we move in to identify the children and rescue them, and they try to trace their families and then let the children get back to their families. And where there are challenges in the families, especially maybe in the case of poverty, we try to see how best we can help these families. Most of them are also put on what we call the Livelihood Empowerment Against Poverty program, which provides them with some cash grant to smooth their consumption, and then we link them to other interventions that will create a livelihood to enable these children to go to school. Create some kind of livelihood for these families, and that is exactly what we are doing through our national social protection, strategy that we are implementing. These issues are multi-sectoral. Okay, so we are working in a multi-sectoral team. We have a technical team comprising of the various ministries that are involved, issues with agriculture, issues with health, issues with education. So we have all these teams together, and we have a comprehensive package which is trying to address the issue. So the thing is, we have to scale it up, and that will depend upon the resources to scale it up to cover many more families so that we can move them. Well, we have a Department of Social Welfare which has been decentralized now. So we have social welfare officers in the various districts. And we use them to provide some kind of psychosocial support and counseling for both the children and the families to enable the children to overcome this emotional trauma or challenges that they go through so that they are able to access, especially education, and then build themselves up as a human resource for this nation.
And that'll be it for the news. But today, dedicating the whole show to fathers is what we're doing. We know it's a run-up to marking Father's Day over the weekend, but there will be a Father's Day show at the La Palm Royal Beach. The ticket's widely available. It is called a Father's Moment, so please make sure you don't miss it. Because we'll be opening the phone lines during our mainstream discussions on my banner, as we'll have Amos Kevinana, a life coach as well, and then we'll be joined by another pastor, and we'll be discussing critical issues affecting men in the home, how also you need to build up your own woman, shape her up the way you want to, but also making sure that you get who is right for you. So it's all just well, leading up the discussions to Father's Day that will be marked over the weekend. But that will lead us to a break. When we come back, we'll be looking at what the stories are front back pages of the newspapers. We'll also be looking at some interesting stories from the news portals. We're taking a break. We'll be right back.